Welcome back everybody to another episode on Andertons TV. I am joined with everybody's favourite Geordie Poldark, Mr. Paul Hindmarch from Line 6. So it's a new gear day today. Line 6 have announced the HX Stomp XL and through the power of technology, I've got one here which you're seeing on my overhead camera, and we've matched the firmware, so we have identical presets and everything. So Stomp is not a new thing for Line 6, Paul, but tell us about Stomp XL and how it's different.
Right, well, it's basically, the giveaway is really in the name. It's a Stomp that's been expanded to have 8 foot switches instead of 3. So in a nutshell, that's really what it is. I mean, in terms of the inputs and the outputs, the sounds are the same as the original HX Stomp, which is obviously the same as Helix. But what a lot of people were doing with HX Stomp, as you know, they were buying extra foot switches, or they were using MIDI to control it and to send, to control it. It now means that you don't need to do that. It's actually as a standalone unit. You have 6 foot switches there that you can bring in effects and bring in presets as well.
Well, that's cool. So I guess from that side of things, then it's fairly obvious. You mentioned before we started filming that the ins and outputs that run along the back are the same as Stomp. So for people who aren't familiar, do you want to just sort of give an overview perhaps then of what you get on Stomp versus the basic Helix LT model?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the whole idea with HX Stomp XL is it's a more compact unit for being on a pedal board. So on there, you can actually connect other foot switches to that as well. You've got MIDI in and out. So if I can remember, I'm not looking directly at the back of it here, but we have USB for doing sort of firmware updates and for using HX Edit software. You can use that to send presets, which is exactly what we did this morning, where I sent you a bunch of presets. You can buy presets from Line 6 Marketplace, and it obviously means that you've got the edit facility on a screen as opposed to on the smaller screen on HX Stomp XL. You've got MIDI in and out, so you can send and receive information from other bits of gear. You've got stereo ins and outs. So with stereo ins and outs, it means you can use it not only for guitar, but you could use it for keyboards or for drum machines or anything else. For DJs, where you often use Line 6 gear, so that'll work. They can incidentally be switched between instrument and line level as well. So again, for keyboards and other instruments. Then you have, I believe, a stereo effects loop. So stereo effects loop, you can use that for running obviously in 4 cable method. You could use that for running a bunch of different effects pedals as well. So you've got basically 2 loops there that you can bring in and out within your presets. Then you have connections for extra foot switches as well. So you can use 2 expression pedals. So I have the nice green mission pedal here. Connect 2 of those, or I could connect extra foot switches so that I had more control of going up and down through presets or multiple other things. And I believe that is the last one along the back there.
Yeah. I think most guitar players will be familiar with what you've done on the Stomp XL layout. So the default setting here is to have bank up and down as the left-hand buttons, A, B, C, D as your 4 presets that you're going to recall. That's assuming you're in your sort of preset mode. Tap tempo over here, or tuner as well if you hold it. And then the other mode is sort of classic Helix and Stomp, I guess, where the pedals will match to an effect within a preset. Have you got the idea of scenes on here? Well, presumably you have, haven't you? Because it's just Helix, isn't it? So you've got a preset mode, a scene mode, and an individual sort of effect pedal mode, right?
Yeah, so you have snapshot mode, we call it.
Snapshot. Sorry, that's what.
So
that's right. Scene is probably another brand, but that's what I meant. Snapshot.
Yeah, so I mean, for the uninitiated, snapshot is a way of having 4 different variations of a preset. So you could have your favorite preset that you went to all the time, but maybe sometimes you want a little bit more delay and a little bit less drive. You can actually do that in a snapshot. You know, so that could be snapshot A. You go to snapshot B. It could be that you turn up the reverb level on snapshot B, and it's all sitting within the one preset. So it's a really powerful feature, and it means you can switch between multiple things. And reverb, you don't ever switch the reverb off. So the trails are always there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of seamless switching between sounds.
Well, obviously you played a little bit at the beginning of this video, and I think, given the sort of the nature of the fact that we could almost stop now and go, well, there you go. That's the difference between Stomp and Stomp XL. And I think, in terms of price, it's dearer than Stomp, but not as expensive as Helix LT. So it sits in the range in a perfectly sensible kind of place. But there was a big Helix Stomp, or HX Stomp, upgrade recently. So why don't we focus into that? And then anyone that's got an existing Stomp or who buys a Stomp XL will be able to download this firmware update and benefit from some of the new effects that are in there. And then let's also go through, the unit I've got here is full of patches that start with PH, so I'm guessing that's Paul Hindmarch. So we might as well hear some stuff that you've done, and when I hear a preset that you play that I think, oh, that's nice, I'll have a little noodle, and perhaps I can give some feedback on feel and tone and that kind of vibe.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the update that you're referring to is Helix 3.0, which did add a bunch of extra stuff. Now, what that also added for Stomp was for the original Stomp and for Stomp XL, the first thing I'm supposed to talk about is that we added blocks to that. So we actually went up now, so HX Stomp XL and HX Stomp now have sort of 8 blocks there. So I suppose if we wanted to go through the range, obviously we have, they all have the same kind of part, the same HX models that we find in Helix. So we have something like Pod Go, which would be your entry level access to those models. What you can actually do on HX Stomp, though, maybe worth talking about, is the fact that any of those 8 blocks can be anything that you want them to be. So if you wanted 8 different delays on there, you could do that. You can't do that with something like Pod Go. So that's where you would start, and you can have 2 paths on this as well. So that's the sort of the major difference as why you would move up from Pod Go to one of the HX Stomp range. So I'm just going to refer back to what you said before. Moving on to the LT, if you wanted the LT, that's where you start to get the sort of the really serious processing power, where you have sort of 4 stereo paths. You have extra inputs on there, extra outputs. So there's a lot of extra stuff on there. HX Stomp XL is it's something that sits on your foot pedal on your pedal board, and just brings a whole lot more stuff. And having used this for a few weeks now, I think probably as a consumer, if I was a normal consumer, this could possibly be the one that I would go for, with the extra foot switches, because what it enables you to do is the foot switches are color, the capacitance touch as well, and like you correctly said there, they're color coded as well. So what a lot of people have been doing, where they've been adding extra foot switches to this actually means that you have capacitance touch foot switches here as well. So you're right, we are just expanding on it, but those extra foot switches do bring up a lot of extra stuff, and the extra snapshots and everything as well. But I think it is important to mention that these capacitance touch foot switches do mean that you can instantly jump into any of those effects, and you've got 6 different pedals there on the 6 different foot switches there on the ground in front of you. You can say all color coded. So switching over to the Helix 3.0 update, that was the main thing for HX Stomp users, was the addition of the extra foot switches. The command center is now in HX Stomp as well, which means you can send out multiple different types of MIDI information, and so you can have it's much easier to control other pieces of gear. The other thing that came along with that was extra amp models, extra cabinet models, and a whole bunch of extra effects. Probably the most important one, I guess, in there for some was the pitch effects. So we now have poly pitch effects in there, which we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's the guys who did the Digitech Trio and the Digitech pitch effects. They now work for Line 6. They're up in Victoria working for us now. So one of the reasons why I want to mention all this is that when we go through the presets, I've actually programmed some of these presets so you can hear all of these specific, the pitch effects which are brand new. Okay, so anyway, so some playing. Sorry, I just had a lot I need to get off my chest.
No, it's all good. It's all good, and it all makes sense. But yeah, let's hear some of the tones.
Okay, so the first one is the new Princess model, which has probably become very quickly my favorite model inside any of the Helix gear. And for this preset here, I don't know which mode that you're in there, but like you correctly said, you have preset mode. If you press that foot switch, I'm hoping that if you're in preset number 1A, you're looking at 2 green foot switches there.
Yes, I am now.
Yep, so that's a 2. So
I just toggled the mode between. I see. So when it's just the red light around the A, that is because I'm in the preset mode, and if I change to B, it loads a new preset. Whereas if I'm in A and I press mode, I'm now in its sort of stomp pedal mode. So each of these color-coded things is going to turn an effect on and off within that preset rather than change me to a different preset.
Absolutely. So as we look at it there, we've got 2 delays there. I mean, in this preset, if I go to the first thing in the chain there, I've got a univibe on there. And again, just touching the foot switch, if I touch foot switch that's labeled number B there, that takes me to the optical trem. So this is the Princess model, but this is with an SD9 in front of it, and it's the pickups that I have on this guitar are kind of mismatched deliberately. So it's super responsive to, if I have it on the single coils, these are like Lola Imperials, or Blackface, sorry, for the single coils. But when I switch over to the humbucker, it really drives that. I mean, it's a rock sound in that mode. But still really defined and it's really sensitive.
You mentioned this new model Princess. Is that without stepping on anybody's copyright toes here, I mean, are we talking about a Princeton guitar amplifier model? Is that what we're basically saying that it's based on?
It is, yes. Yeah. And this particular model may be of interest. This is actually owned by the sound design guy, owned by Ben Adrian. So it's his personal amp that he brought into the building and modelled
because it's
it's
not an amp that you would necessarily associate with that kind of super high gain rock tone. So you've got a drive pedal going into it, and then essentially some delays, and then I can see as a preset that the extra reverb and the optical trem are not on as part of the default settings. I mean, just to remind everybody, so what you're hearing and what we're all hearing, these are just being plugged straight into the interface. So there are no guitar amplifiers in this video. It's just straight into the HX Stomp and into the interface. Paul is hearing me via a horrific Zoom connection, and I'm hearing Paul in reverse via that same horrific Zoom connection. So yes, it's more chat. That's why we've got 2, so that when Paul plays, obviously he's a much better guitar player than I am, but also I don't really get a sense of what the sound is, which is why I've got one here. But that's a cool sound. I mean, again,
it's really dynamic.
As you say,
it's really responsive.
It's nice and responsive, isn't it? I mean, it almost goes full spanky clean, doesn't it? So yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that's one of the, I think most of my presets now are sort of built around that, and I think it's the first time I've moved away from the idea of always using like a model of a 4x12 as well. So this particular preset it's a 1x12 speaker in that. We have a 3.0 brought a 10-inch speaker and a 12-inch speaker, and I think it's a 12-inch that I chose for chose for this. So yeah, just a nice dynamic sound. And I've been looking for ages for something that could really respond as well as that for, you know, for for cleaning up and giving me enough distortion when I wanted to pick fast, but also backing off, but not even with the volume control, just by the actual pick and dynamics as well, you know. So yeah, this is that's my current new favorite preset. But we'll maybe go back to that.
I've gone to B. I like the name of B, Das Mega. Is that a good one?
Of course, these are all mine. These are good. So Das Mega is another one of the amps. That's a diesel,
right?
Diesel amp in there. So this is, you know, there's no this one takes no prisoners. There's no cleaning up on this one.
What's that filter effect or something that you've got on there? Or is that just Zoom?
That's that. It's Zoom, but not Zoom the brand.
Not Zoom the brand, Zoom the video conferencing, calling people. It's in my ears, it sounded like there was like a wah-y kind of effect on there, but that was probably just Zoom.
Yeah, it's just Zoom, but I think what you should be seeing there is one of the new effects, which isn't activated at the moment, which is Poly Capo. So if I was to do the same thing with Poly Capo, so now we can polytune sort of whole chords, whereas in the past we had a pitch shifter that changed the pitch, right, but it wasn't great at identifying the note, you know, all the notes of a chord, whereas this one's way better.
Sorry, man, you're going to have to explain that one to me again. You're talking about you're playing a chord and it's tuning the notes in the chord. Is that what you?
Yeah, this is. So it's poly pitch shift. So this was the big deal with the update. In that.
So if you, I don't know, like if you're a guitar player that buys a guitar with an Evertune bridge on it or something because you want that, you know, almost mechanical string tuning all the time. Are you basically saying this is sort of digitally replicating that? So even if you play a chord, it will work out the one string that's maybe half a cent detuned and correct that in real time?
No, not quite as clever as that.
Right.
Not quite as clever as that. No, what it's doing is it's able to pick out the notes from each chord, and just so that now, if you're on a normal pitch shifter, you can quite often get a lot of warble if you just have a simple pitch shifter that drops everything down a semitone or a tone. It's not good at picking out the individual notes. If you wanted something to do what you just said, then something like Line 6 Variax, obviously, which you're familiar with.
No, okay, sorry, I've misunderstood that. So you are talking about saying it's like on a Digitech whammy, you're saying, right, I want everything, I just want to tune down by half a step so I can go from E to E flat tuning. And you're basically saying it's just a better way of doing that because it's now able to detune each string by half a step rather than like the overall tone by half a step.
Yeah, it's just a much clearer way of doing it. I don't know how the guys do it, but it sounds and it's responsive like. I mean, even when I was playing there, I sort of forgot that I wasn't in.
No, I mean, I'm wondering if I can. So that's normal tuning A. That does save you needing, 2 or 3 different guitars for the set, doesn't it? Although presumably that's not a different pitch change per string, is it? So you would need Variax to do that. This is just if you just want to change your whole guitar down or up by a pitch. Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a bunch of those effects as well, you know. So it's which we'll get to as we sort of go through these presets there. But yeah, it's just really fast and it's really responsive. So like you say, it just means you don't need to have an E flat guitar now, and you don't need to have a Variax or a special guitar.
So what would Stevie Ray Vaughan have done? Would he have then just played? Do you think Would he have just played in D? He'd have literally had his guitar tuned to E flat and used that. Who knows? Who knows what Stevie would have done with an HX
if he's got
Stomp
into
XL?
He may have got into all kinds of genty things,
maybe
and metal things, and math. He might have become a math metal legend as he grew older.
Or wouldn't it have been great if he'd still had E flat tuning on his guitar for the feel, but then just pitch corrected up half a step so that we could all jam along with his music without having to retune our guitars? Hey ho. Right, we digress. What's the next one then? Now, I'll tell you, this next one, this was funny because before we started filming, I strummed a chord on this next one, and everyone in the studio ran around trying to fix the lead that had broken or had fallen out of something, and until we eventually worked out, no, that's the effect in the Stomp XL. So tell me how you've programmed synth follow in a usable effect.
Yeah, so basically all that was happening was he was playing something, the brass section were following him, and it just seemed like actually I could do that with a delay in one of the synth effects. So basically you have to leave space for it. You can't just play this preset as whichever way you want. So you'd have to be like.
Okay, well, that would explain why it sounded broken when I was playing. So
yeah, so it was just the way it was just something I did for a demo video, and it was just like it's just quite because it obviously it's Prince had to arrange. I'm guessing he had to arrange his brass section to do the same thing. Not that I'm suggesting that this sounds like Prince and his brass section.
I get the idea, though. I get the idea.
Yeah.
What's the? Cool. Let's keep moving on. So STXL VH, is that a nod to Eddie?
Yeah, I think it was just me messing around. I just wanted to send you some things that I had, So this has got the grey flanger on there. There's two different delays. And if I stick the flanger on there, it's a Brit Plexi jump model as well. Yeah, bit of delay there and a bit of transistor tape, really fast transistor tape right in the front end of the amp there as well.
So what else? Come on, tell me some other. Again, we can either keep going through these, or perhaps you just want to pick out the 2 or 3 highlights. Have you done a sort of a dedicated video that we can link to below that just talks about the version 3 update?
Yes. Yeah, there's two different versions of that. So there's one that talks about the additions to the full range, and then there's one that has all the effect examples in as well. So I'll just pick through a bunch of them. So this next preset is a bunch of different fuzzes that we added with 3.0.
Yeah.
So for my cleans, for my dry tone. On this foot switch, I have the big horn fuzz.
Oh, I need to try that. That sounded epic. So I just want to try it myself, but. It's fuzzy and dirty and big.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's that. That's the pocket. Well, there's the big horn fuzz. There's a pocket fuzz. Just quick. You have the ballistic fuzz.
Let's go. To be or not to be. The glitch. Oh, this sounds like another effect that's more your bag than mine, but go on, tell us what this is.
Oh, Lee, this is the best effect ever invented. Again, it's another one from the new team that we have, from the Victoria team. So glitch delay is something that when your delays come back at you, they can be randomly put into reverse, they can be pitch shifted, they can like all kinds of like parameters there that you can change. So when you go into this, it's really easy to lose yourself in a sort of trance for days. But how cool is this, Lee?
Come on.
So this is just the glitch delay, and I'm going to add the searchlights to this. And I'm going to add some searchlights to that, one of the big sort of reverbs that we have.
Well, I don't know what BB King would have made of that patch, but I get it. I mean, it's, you know, the guitar is the greatest instrument on the planet because you can do anything from Robert Johnson through to.
I think you're just trying to be nice now, Lee. But
No.
Wait till you hear that not through Zoom. Wait until you hear that in all its stereo glory.
I get it. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I don't have a lot on my pedal board that I would consider to be in that kind of domain, but I've got a Walrus Slow that kind of does do some of those big shimmered, epic kind of reverby kind of things. So I get it. And you can sometimes a preset like that or an effect like that will, you know, it'll get you into a very creative vein, and it'll stimulate kind of, you know, different licks and different thoughts and things. And I think it's all good. It's all good, yeah. Everybody. I'm putting it out there now. It doesn't just have to be a JTM 45 and a Les Paul. You can make good tones with other things too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about just making music, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, it's all about having fun, really. That's the.
Yes. So what's next?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. So next thing up there is poly sustain, which is again another one of the poly pitch things. And what this will do is this will repeat the first note or the chord that you're playing as you press B. So this works better when it's at your feet. But if I was to play maybe an A minor 7 chord,
okay,
that will capture that.
No, that's cool. Fun enough, I saw a great Rick Beato video on like scales and modes, and he would use that effect. So he'd just play a chord, hit the freeze button, and then just go, you could play this scale or this mode or this, that, and the other. It's like, it was a cool. I get it. I get that. That's very cool too. Good to see that as an effect in here now.
And then we have a whole selection of other things. So things like poly capo. I think this is again sort of metal-y sound. And what I've done in this one, I've added poly capo, but I think if you look over at the sort of lower left-hand side foot switch, you'll see that I've assigned the interval to a pedal there as well. So this is preset number 2D.
Yeah.
So if I was to play... So that's normal guitar.
Oh, that's epic. So you don't even have to learn chords anymore. You just basically have, you know, as long as your song only has 4 variants of a chord position, you could just play one chord and stomp on pedals.
Yeah, if you're like a sort of straight ahead punk band playing just major chords in one position, yeah, it's absolutely going to do that for you. What else have I got? Lee, I could go on all day with this stuff.
Let's. I think we've kind of focused quite a bit on this video about what, firstly, you know, the new buttons on the Stomp XL, but also the new tones within version 3. If someone hasn't looked at this kind of product before, are there some of the basic patches that we can go to that are just perhaps here's just a straight up, you know, clean tone with a bit of delay, or like a broken up martially cut tone? Can we get back to those? Presumably the presets we've got are not the ones that are going to come out the box, are they? They're your presets.
What are you saying, Lee? Are you saying that you don't like my presets? Is that where we're going with this?
How did I? I don't know. I'll let the audience decide whether that's what I meant or not. I'm saying nothing.
So if you go up to 10A, that's where the direct factory presets stop.
Got it. Double norm.
So yeah, so when you buy this, it will have, because obviously a lot of people will use this just for effect. They will use this with an amplifier, so all of the, you know, the gain and the preamp is all going to come from a traditional amplifier, and they'll just use this purely for, you know, reverbs, choruses, any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a different customer. Or a different scenario where you would use this for direct recording you could use this as a computer interface as well, actually, if you wanted to. This becomes your recording interface just via USB.
Yeah.
So the way that the presets are laid out is you have them for different instruments, and you have them for just the effect side, and then the direct side that you would want if you're listening as we are into sort of headphones and direct. So yeah, so 10A in this situation, I think I moved them around, but these are.
Let me have a little. Yeah, I mean, I think Helix it's a great product for, you know, I've seen loads of guitar players using the original Stomp, as you say, on a pedal board with a traditional guitar amp setup, just because it's a very, very convenient way of having a lot of different effects at your fingertips or at your feet. I've seen them used with MIDI boards. Obviously, people will probably be familiar with seeing people using Line 6 products as the whole thing, just straight into a recording setup. And it fair play, you know, I mean, the sounds just get better all the time, don't they? I think I had a bit of an epiphany last year playing, I think it was a Pod HD Pro, like quite an old product. And I just managed to get my mindset into this idea of just going, look, it just is what it is, and just play it rather than, you know, and then all of a sudden, once you realize that and you sort of get over the fact that it's coming out of some headphones or some small studio monitors rather than a 212 or a 412, whatever, and you just get over it all and you start playing and you just get some really great tones, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and you have fun and you play and you make music and you can record music straight away. I mean, it's always important to remember that everybody in Line 6 loves vintage gear. They all love traditional amplifiers, and these are just really cool things for either adding to that sort of more traditional setup, or for, you know, for home practice, for, you know, for it being everything that you want to do straight into straight into Cubase or straight into Pro Tools or anything, you know.
Yep.
Let
me see what else. AC30s. And presumably, again, we've got all the different things that we can kick in. What have we got here that comes on and off? Oh, we didn't. I picked one that didn't have a drive pedal, typical. Remind me again on this, you can load your own IRs into this, or they have to be preset ones?
Yeah, no, you can load your own IRs in as well. So yeah, you can buy a whole range of them, and there's literally millions of IRs out there.
Oh, millions,
aren't
they? Yeah. No, look, I mean... And again, I always felt that, I know tonally it's a hotly debated argument between, the 3 or 4 major brands and this kind of thing. And everyone will have their favourite. But I always felt that one of the things that Line 6 really led the pack on was the interface, like how relatively straightforward it was to dive in and change stuff. And I still think, even though you've got like a tiny or relatively tiny screen on here, it's still quite quick just to sort of go, yeah, that's what I want to change. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. Once you can see along the bottom here, what they've kind of done is given you the 3 kind of most likely controls you think you might want to get to, and then very quickly once you're in the mode, and again you touch the corresponding effect. Again, the 3 most likely presets kind of come up, and then of course you can deep dive into it if you really want to and get really under the hood. But I do think you don't tend to get sucked into that rabbit warren of, God, I don't know where I am anymore on the Helix kind of interface that perhaps I find on other multi-effects units has been a criticism. I
think, like you say, those foot switches make such a big difference. Once you've got something assigned to those foot switches and you're just touching those foot switches, it's so fast. I mean, one of the other cool things worth mentioning about Helix 3, the 3.0 firmware, was we added a folder now, which is favorites. So if you find yourself like me, every time you pick it up, you want a glitch delay or you want a Princess amp model, instead of having to scroll down to the delays and through all the delays now, there's actually a favorite folder, which is the first thing you come to, where again, the name's in the title there, all your favorite things are there. And also user model defaults as well. So instead of, when you dial up like a Fender amplifier or whatever it might be, you can actually have your default settings on that now as well. It's not somebody in Calabasas's default settings. It's made it super even faster to program.
No, I like it. I mean, I kind of. There's nothing wrong with that, is it? As a sort of a bass tone to sort of go, yeah, that's what I want. I'm just trying to. You can't see what I'm doing here, can you? But I'm up at 12B now. And it's just a nice clean sound with I can't see, what is that this wants to put on? Oh, a phaser. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, man? Just how much this technology's come on since that original Line 6 pod. And again, I don't get my hands on this stuff terribly frequently. So I think, the fact that I'm able to navigate my way around it and kind of, remember roughly how to do stuff off of, probably an hour or two's playing with a Stomp a year ago is testament to how Line 6 have kind of consistently approached the way you edit these products in the same way. And it's just, I like it. It's very cool. When are these in the shops, Mr. Paul?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Have I asked the wrong person?
I'll be honest, yeah, it's probably a question I don't have the answer to. I don't think it'll be long, though. Don't think it'll be much.
We'll flash it up on screen now. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Paul, for spending the time, as always. I very much look forward to hopefully sometime over the summer where you're allowed to travel again and we can, have a jam and a cup of tea together and share our COVID haircut stories. But yes, for now, everybody, thank you very much for watching. And Paul, do you want to just find a pleasant patch? And Peter picked a pleasant patch and played us out. But yes, thanks for watching, and you can find out details of this below, and we shall see you in another video soon.